I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Actus Purus.
In what context? Are you an Eastern Orthodox?
I'm not Christian at all.
Okay.
I just want to get your view. I'm not doing like polemics against you.
You just want to get an idea of what divine simplicity is.
No, because I heard that there was I did hear an argument given by an Eastern Orthodox guy, and he basically said that Actus Purus contradicts creation ex nihilo. And I just wanted to get your thoughts on
How
that.
so? Interesting. Okay.
Well, the idea is that if God is pure actuality, then He's always creating the universe, which would mean that that would obviously contradict ex nihilo. That's kind of the way the argument goes.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so you're just hearing an Eastern Orthodox talk about it. Well, Actus Purus basically refers to the fact that according to Thomistic metaphysic, God is just pure act, right?
Yeah,
Versus, right, as opposed to composite being, right? So, a composite being isn't a pure act in the sense that um,
it has
there's still,
potentialities. Yeah.
now you get it, right? Because that's by definition what it means to be a composite being,
Hmm.
to move from one state to another, to change, to be in motion. Does that make sense? To
Yeah, of course.
have other final and formal causes dependent or contingent on the composite form or telos of other things.
No, I understand that, but does that not sound inconsistent with the idea of ex nihilo?
I mean, prima facie, no. You would have to find like a okay. I mean, I don't want to provide an Eastern Orthodox with potential arguments that would require a further distinction, but Thomists do make a further distinction in what kind of act Actus Purus is.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
in short, there can be like an implied sense and an efficacious sense, right? So, the implied sense of an action would be like the example that's commonly used by Thomists is like building of a house, right? Like when I say something semantically like I'm building a house, right?
Yeah.
I could have that idea in my head. I could have all the plans ready to go. All the permitting is, I've applied for all the permitting, site development's done. Um, I'm just ordering from the vendors at this point, waiting for bank approval. Everything's set to go. I'm building a house. You know what I mean? Or I've built the house. You see what I
Yeah.
mean? Like all that's in place. If everything goes according to plan, so to speak, right? Or it means in an effective case, I've already built the house. You know what I mean? It's like it's happened, right? Like the project's completed. I built the house. You get what I'm saying? So it's the same act, right? Um,
Is it?
yeah, it's the same act, but when we say it, when I say that I built a house or I'm building a house, right? It's like verb, right? Like it
Yeah.
could it could mean two distinct, I guess senses. One is like of the mind, and
No, I understand
one
what you mean.
is
One of
one
them
is
is potential. One of them
reality.
is actuality. But if
Uh,
if God is a pure act, then that means He's always creating something, which would mean that His existence necessitates the existence of something that isn't God,
yeah.
which
So
sounds
so
which sounds like
it
that runs
isn't
again. Well, hold on, I
it
let you
isn't
talk.
kind of
I
a
just want to
distinction.
say that that sounds like that's not consistent with ex nihilo
Yeah.
because it would
Well, I
mean there
mean,
would always be
it's
something
not.
there.
It's yeah, yeah, yeah. It's not a movement from potency to act.
So then, what is ex nihilo then?
Ex nihilo just means creation out of nothing, right?
Yeah.
So what they're trying to say is that there's a logical contradiction to say that there's no potency within God. And that's not what Thomas, I mean, yeah, Thomas would agree that there is no potency, but it doesn't exclude that the act of God or God as actus purus, right, could be creating in both the implied versus, effective case. So all things that are possible could exist within the quote unquote mind and action of God, but they may not be affected. You get what I mean? So just as like God could in terms of a person's salvation, right? God in his mind, right, could have already determined, that his will, right, which is to save and have that, he wants his salvation and grace to be affected in each person.
Yeah.
That's what he has in mind and he intends for that. But, you know, creatures through their own volitional attitudes choose that they don't want that grace, right? They don't want to cooperate or commune with him. So that grace simply passes over them. That's like the Roman Catholic position, right? On how
Yeah.
we preserve free will and also preserve the predeterminate nature of the saved or the elect.
So what you're saying is that
But
the,
it's still
I mean,
one action.
yeah, is it though?
Yeah.
I mean, just having the idea of doing something doesn't sound to me like an act. It sounds like that's a potential.
Well, that's the thing about persons, right? We're not contingent in the same sense that a chair is contingent, right? Our contingency has implied like intentionality to it. So that's what it means to be a person. Where
No,
personhood
I know, but
is a
with
property of
God, I'm talking
relationship.
about God though.
No, I understand, but we understand God to be revealed in the same sense.
Right. But it does
So
sound a
so
bit odd to say that.
human knowledge is capable of knowledge of God. It's just a human knowledge of God.
No, I understand that, but
Yeah.
it doesn't sound like you can say. I mean, it kind of
Well, I
sounds like a
mean,
cop out, if I'm being
here's the
honest.
thing. You keep saying, "Well, yeah, I understand that. I understand that."
Yeah, I
So
understand this
so
because
you
I have a
recognize
PhD. Like, I get the
hold
argument,
on,
but
hold
you're
on,
just
hold on,
not
hold on.
addressing what I'm fucking saying, mate. You're just totally
The
dodging the
logical
issue.
coherence of it, right?
No, no,
So
no. I understand the notion of potency
where
and
do you
act. You
have
explained that to me like I was a
left it?
child. I totally get it. But you've not
Okay.
explained how God having the idea of passing the idea into an action is somehow the idea is an act itself. How is that an act? It's potency.
No, it's not the idea of it, right?
Well, then
So
what is
like
it then? You said it's in his mind. You said it's a plan that he has
correct.
and then he actualizes it.
So
How is the plan an
do
act?
you understand the distinction between intellect and the mind?
Yes.
So thought is an action. So according to classical metaphysics, Aristotelian metaphysics and
Actuality
logic,
attains to ontology, though.
that's the thing, right? I mean,
No,
I
no.
just exposed you.
Actuality
You're ignorant.
attains to ontology.
There are plenty of
You're totally
people.
missing the point.
No, 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 no. There are plenty of
To
people
say
that
that
I
something
talk
is
to.
actual is to say that it has an
There are plenty of
ontological
people that I
status.
talk to who think that they can understand the mind of God with their pure intuition because they don't realize
I
there's
don't
a
know what that has to do
very
with the point I'm
critical
making.
metaphysical step in between corporeity and mindfulness or
Do you
being the
understand that
mind,
by
and
saying
that's
that God has the
intellection.
idea
So
as an
here's the
act,
thing:
that is to say that there is a dependence
without the
relationship? That means that there's
categories,
two
you have
fundamental
no way
ontologies.
of
You're
critically
not addressing the point.
analyzing.
You're not
Where the
addressing the point.
intellect, the activity of the intellect, is an action.
I was expecting something better than
See,
this.
so that's why I told you when someone says something like the classical example, right, is
Oh
like
my god.
I built the house, right? Or I am
Yeah,
building
I
a
know.
house.
I know this
Do you get what I
analogy. I
mean?
know.
What is
You're not.
building a
You're not.
house?
You're not. Okay, mate. Listen, I'm trying to
How
be
can
fair. You're
those
not listening to
categorical
the
reference?
criticism that
No,
I'm
dude,
making.
are you just going to continue to talk over me? You're
Oh,
the
that's
one
ironic.
asking the
Every time
question,
I've
right?
tried to pose something to you, you just
Here's the
rammed
thing.
right through.
Here's the thing, though.
Because you have
If
just
you
this
don't,
magazine of
I can,
Thomistic talking
if
points
you
and you
don't
don't know how to
have a
respond to a
claim to
criticism.
share, if you don't have a claim to share, first of all, I'm under no obligation to understand your position for you. But
If you
secondly,
want to have a
if
debate,
you
yes, you
came in
actually are.
here with just questions and without a claim, then just fucking listen.
No, I can
You're
respond
not,
to the
no, no,
points
no.
you're
Don't
making if I
try to
find your
use your
position inconsistent.
intuition. Don't
That's
try to use
ridiculous.
your
I'm not
intuition
using
by
intuition.
intuition
You're getting
alone
totally
to
bent out of
try to
shape.
understand someone else's claim without hearing what their claim is.
I heard your claim and you didn't respond to the criticism that I made.
What's this criticism? That you
Okay,
still don't
I will.
recognize how there's any distinction between potency and act?
Okay, let me reiterate it for you. You're trying to efface the distinction here by saying that, well, God has the thought as an act, and so that
No, no,
doesn't
no, no, no.
circumvent.
All
Oh
I
my God.
said is God could have it in his mind, right?
That would still render the thing ontologically distinct from God,
Yeah,
which
but
would mean that there would be
ideas
two
don't
things. There would
exist
be
within the
God and a
mind. No,
created
no, no, no,
thing.
no,
Would
no.
it not
See,
be a
but this is
created
the
thing?
problem. Right. You're metaphysically ignorant. You don't
Oh, really?
realize that ideas are a matter of thought. Thought is an
Of
action
course they
of the
are. That's not the
intellect.
point.
Hold
It
on.
means it's a created thing,
Thought
is it not? It's a created thing.
Thought
is the idea a created
thought
thing?
is an activity of the intellect.
It is. Is it a created thing?
No. So
are you just not going to? Are you not going to answer the question? Is it a created thing?
Is what a created thing?
Is the thought a created thing?
It doesn't have corporeity.
No, it doesn't have to have corporeity. Is it a created thing? It doesn't have to be physical. Is it a created thing?
The intellect is not.
No, I'm not begging the question. The angels aren't corporal, and they exist, right? So they're created beings. Right. So is the idea in God's mind a created thing? Right.
So long as the external principle is one that is, unique or univocally.
You called me metaphysically ignorant, and you're just not even going to answer the question because you can't.
This is the problem, okay? So when Christians or Thomists talk about God, it isn't just one subjective classification of things, right? It's an assertion.
I don't know why that's relevant to anything.
So
are you going to answer the question?
Principle. Does that make sense? So
is this oration going to end with you answering the question?
Well, dude, why are you just filibustering?
You're filibustering because you don't want to answer the question. It's ask the Catholic, and then I ask the question, and then you don't answer it.
About shit, and all you have left is all you've been doing is
a very solid question that you refuse to answer.
Trying to get your own intuition.
See, it's called ask the Catholic, but you don't answer the questions.
Garbage because
it's not about intuition. Is God's thought a created thing? Is it 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 a created
telling you over and over again, you're a creative moron because you keep gish galloping and shifting the goalpost. You never even talked about.
Is the thought a created thing, pal?
You're a fucking moron.
Is the thought a created thing? I'm not shifting the goalpost. I've asked the same pointed question you refuse to answer. Is the thought a created thing?
Is an action of the intellect.
Is it a created thing?
Why are you asking a nonsense question? You're begging.
How's that a nonsense question?
You're begging.
How's that a nonsense question?
You're creating a circular argument.
I'm not. It's a question you're refusing to answer. It's not an argument.
No.
It's a question. Is the thought a created thing?
It's a circular argument.
Is the thought? It's not an argument. It's a question.
No, why? Because you're already assuming. When you say, "Is it a thing?" Right? Is it a created thing?
Yeah, exactly. What's wrong with that?
You're assuming that it has.
It doesn't have to be physical.
Ontology to it prior to asking about whether it is created or not. Do you not
that doesn't even make
sense. Ridiculousness of your question? Precisely.
It's either a created thing or it's not a created thing.
Predication within that question.
That doesn't even mean anything. You're just using terms you don't even understand.
You have no criterion of establishing the externality for yourself, and you're asking if
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Thought exists within that.
I'm just asking, is God's thought a created thing? It's very simple. You can't answer it because you know it's a problem with your theory.
No, it's
with your ridiculous Thomism that you haven't revised your own. You've just dogmatically swallowed this Thomism and you haven't thought about it.
Is it a created thing? All that has to be demonstrated by I guess assenting or holding to an external principle. You can construct from it so long as it's logically coherent.
So I'm just never going to get an answer because you can't answer it. Because if it's a created thing, then that means that there is necessary external ontology, which would mean that it's not ex nihilo. And if it's uncreated, then that would mean that it's God, which you obviously can't maintain that.
There's no obligation to you to provide any sort of analytical correspondence to it at all.
That doesn't. You're just using jargon that you don't even understand to dodge the question.
All you're doing is shifting the burden.
It's ask the Catholic, and you refuse to answer the question.
And your intuitions can't do it for you. Your intuitions mean jack shit.
What intuitions? It's a question.
Done anything.
I haven't intuited anything.
Moron.
I've asked you a question.
Your questions are worth dog shit. That's why.
Why?
Because they're undisciplined and they demonstrate
what does that even mean?
Your lack of logic. That's all it does.
So you're saying that it's neither a created thing nor an uncreated thing. Is that what you're saying? It's neither of those.
Genius, but you're not.
No. I'm just asking you a question. So it can either be a thing can either be uncreated or it can be created, right?
Is begging the question.
Okay, I'll ask you maybe a broader question, and then that might lead. Okay.
Just shifting the goalpost.
It's not begging the question.
Burden, and you're just begging the question.
You don't even know what begging the question means.
Ask.
Do you? You don't even
call that question one more time.
Okay, I'll ask you a broader question. How about that? That might help you out.
A created thing. That's begging.
Is God's thought a created thing? Okay, so you're not going to answer that. So I'll ask you a broader question then. A thing is either created or uncreated, right?
No, that's a false dichotomy.
Whoa. So there's a thing that's neither created nor uncreated. What's that?
It's a false dichotomy.
This is your own metaphysics, by the way. Christians would obviously answer that those are the two possible ontologies, uncreated or created. So you don't even know your own theology. I came in here thinking that I was going to get an authority. Apparently, I know more about your own theology than you do. Because, of course, a thing is either created or uncreated. Something is either God or it's not God.
Already.
So that's the reason you don't even know how to answer the question, because you don't even understand your own fundamental ontology. That's the problem.
A thought is not a thing.
So it's just a pure act. It's verbal.
No, it's a false dichotomy to assume.
It's not a false
question begging to assume, right, that it's either created or not created, because it can't be. It isn't a being.
So God's thought doesn't exist.
So. So you're not even familiar with Parmenides, right? This is the problem,
I've read Parmenides.
Right? You assume that the totality, right, of multiplicity.
What's Parmenides got to do with Thomism?
What we mean by the one. You're incapable of abstract thought, sir. That's what you're
talking about. You couldn't even tell me whether a thing is created or uncreated.
You're stuck. You're just a pure naturalist.
What do you? I haven't even told you my own view.
You're a materialist naturalist. That's what that is.
No, I'm a Platonist.
No,
I'm a Platonist. You don't see. That's the thing. You need me to be like a complete dumbfuck in order for that. Well, I'm not. Yeah, but I'm not a Catholic. I don't believe in ex nihilo. I don't believe in ex nihilo, idiot. You do. That's the problem. You don't even understand the criticism.
But you don't even recognize who Parmenides is. Because Plato owes all of his theory of the Platonic Academy.
What does this have to do with anything?
The Parmenides distinction.
Oh my god, dude! What are you talking about?
Right? That.
Are you Googling Parmenides? I just heard you typing.
Is recognition that the totality of the sum of multiplicity.
What does this have to do with ex nihilo?
No,
what are you talking about?
It's a via negativa, and you're totally fucking missing the point.
You didn't want to tell me whether God's thought is created or uncreated, because then you said it doesn't exist. You said it didn't exist.
And you don't have categories.
It's not an intuition, mate.
You don't have. That's all you're engaged in right now.
I didn't even posit anything. It's a question.
Intuitive. Like feeling and rabble-rousing of the mind. That's
what that makes no sense. That's not what I'm doing.
Any intellectual
You're totally coping, man.
You aren't asking
you totally crumbled, man. You totally crumbled. So you've obviously spent most of your time debating like 30 IQ atheists, and you thought anyone that was going to be critical of your position was going to be exactly like that. But you've not done any scrutiny of your own ontology. You just told me that there is a thing that is neither uncreated nor created.
No, a thought is not a thing. A thought is not a thing.
So it doesn't exist.
It's an activity.
An activity is always about something relating to something else. That's what activity is. Okay? So there's two things involved in that. So you don't even have a response. You don't even have a response.
Is a movement from one state to another, and that's it.
Yes, so there's two things.
You're a fucking idiot.
You don't even know how to argue now. You're just resorting to insults because you don't know how to reply.
No.
See, this is the problem with you, man. You probably know how to defeat like Richard Dawkins here, atheists. You probably know how to argue with them. But with an actual Platonist, I'm recording this too. I'm recording this too, so I'm glad for that. I'm glad. Well, we can both put it up.
Exactly where you're being a fucking moron. I'm actually calling you a fucking moron for it.
I know you're getting very mad and you're insulting.
So they can fucking laugh with me while they fucking hear you on this recording.
Yeah. So if I'll ask it again, is a thing created or uncreated? Or is there a third category?
A thing could be created or uncreated.
Okay, earlier you said there was a third thing.
But a thing by definition, is that what exists?
Yeah, but a thing that exists is either uncreated or created, right? There's not a third category. Right? Or are you just not going to answer?
But again, a thought is not a thing. So again,
You're saying it's an action.
well,
I understand that,
you're
but an
just-
action
you're
is
just
about
shifting-
one
you're
thing
just
relating
moving
to
the
another
goalpost
thing, you
again.
know? So that means there's two things,
literally
and the one
non
thing is either
sequitur
created or
after
it's
one
uncreated.
non sequitur for you, right?
Again, you're using
You
more
have- since
jargon you
have
don't
no
understand.
categories,
There's no
everything
non
is the
sequitur
same
because it's
thought.
not an argument, it's a question.
No, don't act obsequious. If you don't have a claim, you don't have questions.
That doesn't even make
I've
sense.
allowed you, right? Like maybe like a few questions.
I like how
to
you
start
threatened me
getting
with
your
the
point
recording when
going,
I was
but
recording
you
as
don't
well,
fucking
as if
have
I
a
was
point.
somehow afraid of people hearing this.
No, you're just a universal skeptic. You're not a Platonist.
You don't even know what my... See, again,
You're a global
you're setting up
skeptic.
the straw man because
You're a
that's what you're
global
used to
skeptic.
arguing with. You're used to arguing with brain-dead atheists, so you need me to be one in order to think you got the dub. But you just totally
No,
collapse.
that's not-
You don't
that's
even
not
know how to
tech- not-
defend
that's
your
not
own
technically true.
theology.
There's a
Tell
lot
me,
of
what's
people,
your YouTube channel?
there's a
I want to
lot
see
of
when you
people
upload
who
it.
claim there's a lot
What's
of
your YouTube
people
channel?
who claim to understand the mind
What's
of
your
God,
YouTube channel?
but they don't do it through categories.
What's your
They try to
YouTube
do it through
channel?
their
What's your
intuition.
YouTube?
Well,
What's your
oh,
YouTube?
trust me, I will fucking send you the video once
Please.
I process it tonight.
Do it. Absolutely. But you got to send me the channel, though. And just so you know, I was, of course, recording it too. Because I just think it's so funny that you tried to defend the view that a thing can be neither created nor uncreated. And then you wanted to tell me that, well, you know, the thought is an action. Okay, but an action is about a relation. And an act is when one thing relates to another thing. No? Don't want to answer?
Well, I mean, the recording will tell the whole story, so.
That doesn't even make sense.
Right
So you
now,
don't even
what
want to
you're
engage in the
looking for-
debate.
What you're looking for right now, you're desperately looking for a life draft, and I don't have to throw you one.
So you just don't even want to answer the question.
Yeah, because you don't deserve a life raft. I'm just.
But
gonna
it's
let you
called
fucking
Ask the
drown.
Catholic, and I'm
gonna
asking
let
the Catholic.
you drown in your fucking misery. That's what I'm gonna do.
Dude, you're totally crashing out. It's ridiculous.
Well, no. Here's the thing. If you know anything about Christianity, you'd know that tolerance.
Apparently,
is
I
a
know more than you
Christian
do,
virtue.
because I know
Well,
that in the Christian view, it's
tolerance is not a
created and
Christian
uncreated.
virtue.
Those are the
And
two
just by
ontologies.
trying to filibuster from hearing the fucking truth isn't what's gonna save you.
I'm not
fucking dumbass.
filibustering. I'm just
Here's
asking
the
you a
thing.
question that you refuse to
Jesus
answer.
died for the many. He didn't fucking come for everybody. You dumb shit.
Yeah, you sound very Christian.
If you choose not to cooperate with the grace of God, that's
So
on
now you're just going to
fucking
threaten me with hell
That is
because
no
you can't.
one
So now
else's
because you can't
fucking
answer a question,
responsibility
you're just threatening me
except
with
for
hell.
yourself.
Okay.
No, stop shifting the burden, you little shit.
What burden? You're the one now who can't answer a question, so now you're just threatening me with hellfire.
You may find it amusing all you want, right?
Yeah.
But all you have for you is just your mere intuition. That's it.
No, I have some
All
very pointed
mere
questions that you
intuition
refuse to
from your
answer.
material experiences. That's all you have.
I'm not a materialist. You don't even know my belief.
That's right. You don't have a claim. Your claim is that you claim.
I
not
don't
to
need
have
to
a
give you a claim. It's
and
called
you only
Ask the
have
Catholic, and that's what I'm
questions.
doing. And I gave you a pointed question that you refused to answer,
here's the
then
thing.
you totally
There's
crashed out.
nothing that I can say or do that can bring you to God.
It's not about you bringing me to God. It's about you just engaging in a good faith argument. It's very
Tolerance is
simple.
not a Christian virtue.
I'm
Don't
not
shift
asking
the
you to be
burden on
tolerant.
me.
I just want you
Do
to be
not
intellectually
shift the
honest.
burden
That's
on
all I'm
me
asking.
To provide you with some sort of clarity on your own conversion. Don't even
No, I'm not
try to
asking you
act
to do that.
obsequious.
Now
No,
you're just being
you're-
ridiculous.
no,
I'm
you're a
asking
beta
you to
male
just
cuck.
engage in an
That's what you
intellect.
are. You're a fucking
What
beta
the
male
guy
cuck.
in the popish
Look at
garb
you.
is going to tell
So
me that.
what did you
Okay.
come here for? You came here precisely for emotional validation. That's what you came here for.
Dude,
These
you're
are all
totally
feminine
crashing out. It's
behaviors. You're
crazy.
a fucking beta male.
Okay, man. So do you want to answer the question now?
No, you're a beta male.
No?
Do you want to answer why you feel
I can't wait
comfortable
till you
with
upload
being
this.
a fucking emotional beta male?
I'm the
Why
one
are
that's
you
emotional.
looking
You're
for
the one that's
emotional
just, you know,
validation
unleashing
rather than
insult
coming
after
up with a
insult rather than
critical point of your
answering the
own?
question.
Why don't you have a critical claim about the world around you? Why don't you?
Because it's called Ask the Catholic. That's what this voice chat is called. So I'm
Again,
asking you,
shifting
the Catholic.
the burden.
I'm not shifting a burden. You made the burden. It's called Ask the Catholic. I'm asking the Catholic. It wasn't give the Catholic your view,
the
was it?
The level of denial is just simply amazing, but it's not surprising at all.
So do you want to answer the question now, or do you want to just keep doing this?
Listen, you're not.
Because this is
you're not
very
a
amusing,
spectacle.
so I'm not losing
You're not a
anything from this, you
spectacle.
know. No, I know you are. You've made yourself a spectacle. So do you want to answer the question now, or what?
No, I'm just gonna
No?
start
Okay,
processing
so it's not Ask the
recording so
Catholic.
everybody can see how much.
Yeah,
of a
I
fucking
invite you to
moron
upload it, please. I invite you to upload it. I would love it.
Well, You wouldn't ask
I have a
me.
feeling
You
you're
wouldn't
not going to
ask me
upload
for
it, though.
me.
I
You
think you're
wouldn't
going to
ask
threaten me
me
with that and then
to
not do it.
upload it. You
But I
wouldn't
will,
ask
don't
me to
worry.
upload it if you were truthful, like you were saying, and
No,
you
I
were
would ask you to
recording the
upload it because I
conversation
know
for.
that you made a
No,
total
no, no.
fucking cunt of
Weren't you
yourself.
recording the conversation for yourself?
Yeah, I was. I wasn't going to upload it, though. I just do
Yeah,
these things for
because you're a
safekeeping.
fucking beta
No,
cuck.
but I will. I will
You're a
now. I will
beta
upload it
cuck
now. Yeah,
fucking.
just to make sure that in case you don't, because I know that you won't. Because I know you realize you made a total fool of yourself.
Oh no, I will upload this fucking recording.
Okay, I invite you to. I love it. So, do you want to answer the question now? Is God's thought a created thing?
A thought is not a thing.
It's an action, right? But an action is a relation between one thing and another thing, is it not?
Keep gish galloping.
It's not gish galloping. You don't even know what you're talking about. We're just not going to make any progress on this, are we? So when's that going to be uploaded?
Listen.
How big is your YouTube channel? How many subs
Your
do you
own
have?
private intuitions are your own.
How many subs do you have?
The obligation for people to understand
How many subs do
your
you have?
claim is it's not about the
How many subs do you have?
It's not about.
Well,
It's not
it doesn't
about the
matter.
subs. I'm
No,
not
it
even
doesn't. I'm just
monetizing
curious.
the
I just want to know how many.
The whole
No, I know. I
point
just want
is
to know how many
clear
people
the
will
hard
see it.
drive space, from my computer.
That's fine. I just want to know how many people are
And
going to see
also
it.
to record fucking idiots like yourself, and
Yeah.
also to screen
So
this
is
room.
God's thought a created thing?
It's part of the moderation of this room as well. Also,
Sure, that's fine. Is God's thought a created thing?
Again, a thought is not a thing.
But it's an action, is what you're claiming. I understand that. But an
Right.
action is a relationship
It's
between one thing and
it's-
another. So therefore, there is
it's a-
always a dependence relationship,
thought-
i.e., ex
a
nihilo
thought
isn't true.
Is a
Just in case you didn't
category
understand
within
the argument.
intellect.
Well, you're saying it's an action.
Right. And the
Yeah.
intellect
And an
is
action is when one thing relates to another
Intellection
thing, is it
an
not?
action.
Yeah, and so it's when an action is when one thing relates to another thing.
So you recognize the logical coherency of all of this, right?
No, I'm
don't
recognizing
have a
is that
question.
this does not mix
You don't have a question
coherently
because
with
you
the
don't have
idea
a
of ex
point.
nihilo.
You don't have a
You're
point
really
to your
low
question.
IQ. You are extremely low
No,
IQ.
you're looking for some sort of correspondence here. That's what you're
No,
looking
no,
for.
I believe in Actus Purus because I'm an actual Platonist, and I'm trying to show you how that doesn't work with ex nihilo.
Wait, so is this your question, or is it you yourself as a Greek Orthodox question?
Well, I thought it would just be more suitable that you would get this in the context of a Christian
you came
debate.
in here as a disingenuous LARPer. That's
not really. I've not lied
why
about
I record
anything.
these questions, or
I'm happy for you to. I'm happy for you to upload
Discord
it.
conversations.
I do not feel any threat by you saying that. What's the LARPing?
People LARP around as this or that, and they cosplay. You're just a fucking cosplayer.
I like the Catholic, the e-Catholic telling me I'm cosplaying is pretty rich.
Amazing.
So now that we've done all that and you've got all that out of your system, now do you want to answer the criticism?
You don't have a criticism. You still
have
haven't
a
made
criticism.
a claim. You still haven't made a claim. You see,
I made an internal critique. Do you know what an internal critique is? Do you know what an internal critique is?
That's not an internal critique. We're not looking
This is
at
exactly...
a shared text. Where is the fucking shared text?
I'm internally
You're a
critiquing...
fucking moron. You're just working off your intuitive assumptions at this point.
I'm internally critiquing the fact that you hold to both Actus Purus and ex nihilo. That's what I'm internally critiquing. How do you not get that? So that's why it's an internal critique, because it's your view that I'm critiquing. And I'm saying it doesn't follow. You can't have Actus Purus and ex nihilo. At least you haven't been able to defend that view. Maybe you can, but you haven't been able to defend that idea. You just resorted to a bunch of insults and spurging out. And then you just fall completely silent when I make the point. You're probably shivering in your Crocs, right? Your
actually
Crocs.
Not. I'm actually pulling a boss.
No, I'm actually really stoic. I'm actually really stoic, and I'm an alpha, and you're a beta male.
I mean, pretty much. I mean, you can fucking watch it.
Yeah. Anyway, just I'll add you so you can link me
when I'm
the
doing boring boss farming like this. I'm actually the one that gets
I added you as a friend, so later you can. I added you as a friend, so later you can message me the video, right? And I expect that you will, because if you don't, then I will.
I'm gonna post it for the other Greek Orthodox that are
Go for
actually
it.
part of this chat.
I don't. I don't
so
really
that
care
they
about
can
them.
they can analyze it first. And if I feel
I don't care about their
generous,
view.
if I feel generous, then
Oh,
I'll
so you're not
post
going
it.
to upload it to YouTube? All of a sudden, you're walking it back. Well, I will. Don't worry about it. And I'll link you my channel when I upload it.
Oh,
Okay?
sure, sure, sure. You'll
Sure.
see it like maybe in like the next 10 minutes here.
What